Hello and welcome to another episode of Perspectives Podcast. It's been a while, but I'm glad we're back. So today we're going to be talking about what we have learned these past 4 years since we graduated high school, and what we've learned throughout the pandemic, about ourselves and about the world, or anything really about life. So to start off, Miguel, what have you learned in these past 4 or 5 years
What have I learned in the past
about
4 or 5
anything?
years?
Yeah.
um, I feel like it's really hard to pinpoint what exactly I've learned.
Mm.
I think maybe being a little bit more independent.
Right.
Um, I think living away from my parents and living in dorms and whatnot. I think I have some form of freedom. Um, but I'm not entirely sure to say. Like I can't give you a concrete example.
Mm.
Um, I think one of the few things that I think I understand better, or maybe I don't know, but like is like how to live the life I wanna live
Mm.
it,
Right.
or because I think before, in high school I was always like my actions were reflective of what I thought everyone else was, or how everyone else was viewing me.
Right.
I think I do a much better job at like just doing what I want to do,
Right.
without too much regard of what other people think about me. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many. It's such a broad question, but I'm
Well,
interested to hear what you have to say, and what have you learned?
um, I've been thinking about a lot because I've been spending a lot of time alone, so I had nothing to think about really except like just like past, just to keep my mind from not going crazy. But I these past 3 days I spent at my brother's apartment. I was watching his cat and I was alone in the apartment, and I was just thinking that I've learned that these past 4, even past 10 years, I haven't really been like in the up mode. I haven't been depressed. What it is really is just that I'm just a little sad, and mostly I'm just lonely. Um, I feel like that even when I'm around people, I feel like I'm still alone, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's because I think that's because I spent a lot of my time inside my mind, and that what makes me feel lonely. Um, I also realized that I still have a lot of work to do in terms of like trying to stay calm when I'm surrounded by people,
Oh.
like because if I'm around a bunch of people, I get like this silent anxiety, and I end up just like freezing up, and like I end up just not talking, and
Mm-hmm.
people think that, oh, I'm just quiet. It's just no, I'm a little anxious. I'm a little
Yeah.
scared to say the wrong thing.
Oh.
Not because of how people will view me, but like I mean maybe that it maybe that maybe that's what it is. But I'm scared of saying the wrong thing and I ruin a relationship, or I ruined a first impression. Like
Mm-hmm.
because that has happened to me in the past where I said something and I feel like that one sentence, that one word has turned people off, and like I end up like not having many friends, and I end up, like I said, being alone. It's just
Oh.
I'd rather just like stay quiet and like just and like appreciate the company than like ruin the company. If that makes
Oh.
sense.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Mm.
I think it's a good point that you make because like being surrounded by people doesn't necessarily mean you're not lonely.
Right.
Like I think it's really important that you mention that because like it's more so of like the meaningful connections.
Mm.
Because like I could have like 1,000 friends, but what if I don't know anyone like really? Like I can't
Exactly.
share anything with them. I can't really discuss anything. I can't. I think one of the indicators of having a deep connection with people in general is being able to share secrets.
Mm.
I also like another. I think Jordan Peterson said like, how do you know if someone's actually your friend? And I thought like
Ah, yeah, I saw that.
I can definitely agree. Like you
Mm.
know you know they're actually a friend if you can tell them bad news, and if
Mm.
they'll actually, and then you can also tell them good news, and they'll genuinely be happy or genuinely be sad on your behalf. You
Mm.
know, um, and I think that is a pretty good indicator, right? Because that doesn't require any like monetary release, or that doesn't require any like how can I say this? There's no additional agenda behind those two units of measurement.
Right.
Um, but yeah, definitely get you on like the group thing and not being able to, cause like believe me, right? Believe me, I have a lot to say. I think you I think you know me well enough by now. Where like
Yeah, most definitely.
I'll just keep on going, right?
Mm.
But I'm very similar in the regard that if I'm in a group with a lot of people, I'll tend to just not say anything because I
Mm.
think, and I think I agree with you there where it's like you don't want to say the wrong things, you don't want to give a bad impression, first impression, whatnot. Um, and I also think like I just do better on one-on-ones. That way,
Right.
it's like it's just way better for me.
Exactly. Especially
Um,
of girls too.
yeah, I'm okay with like for me it really doesn't matter, right? Guy,
Mm.
girl, alien, you know, pet,
Mm.
animal, like as long as I'm one-on-one, we're chilling.
Word.
Um, it's too stressful to manage with like so many things.
Oh yeah.
There's too many
Yeah.
other variables, and you're like,
Exactly. And with girls, it's like I can't like if there's guys around, or the girl's friends are around, I can't talk to her, or I can, but it's not gonna be in
what I
depth.
want. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's like you can talk to her, but you can't talk to her the way you want to talk to her.
Exactly. And that like it's scary, bro. It's like I want to like tell you like the if people hear what I'm saying like, oh, this guy is so soft, and I'm like, nah, it's actually how I feel. But it is what it is.
Very funny. I gotta get laid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a dry spell for some time now, so
Mm. Word. Yeah, I feel you, bro. And scrolling through Instagram does not help.
mm.
It's like, gosh, man.
Yeah, Tinder doesn't help either.
No, it did not. It's false hope.
Full of soap. That's
Mm.
funny. I don't know. I like to tell myself that it's like okay, don't worry, like the time will come, right? But it's
Mm.
like I also have to view it like if I don't take initiative and if I'm not actively trying, it probably won't. The opportunity
Exactly.
won't
Yeah.
come. So
Mm.
like I can't just be passive. Like sure, like I don't necessarily mind like not having a girl right now, or like I guess not being lonely or not. If I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather I wouldn't say open relationship. I'd rather not be tied down as of right now.
Mm.
Because I completely get like this honeymoon phase, right? Like
Mm.
if you're with a girl for a little bit and then you like catch feelings and whatnot, like it'll be feelings for a little bit. And
Mm.
I think that like I mean we're both still pretty young, so it's more so lust than love, and you'll find out after the honeymoon phase ends.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cause like you figure it out, you figure out um a lot of initial attraction is like because you're genuinely curious about the other person. Of course, maybe they have some really nice tits or nice ass or whatever, great body, like all of it shit, right? But like honeymoon phase ends, and then now, uh, all the things that you're blind to are now more visible to you.
Mm.
Um, I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I think that's how relationships work. Like the whole point of relationships is being with someone and being able to deal with everything else that comes with it
Right.
beyond just what like the what is it, the Disney romance or
Mm.
the fantasy romance where everyone's
Mm.
happy go lucky.
Right. Their
Um,
problems are now yours.
Yeah, and your problems are now theirs, and it's
Exactly. Yep.
something that you guys have to find compromises in between.
Mhm.
Um, because there's a lot of benefits. I think marriage is kind of weird because like there's a lot of financial benefits. Like it makes a lot of sense to be married.
Mm.
Um, because you one you save money. There's a lot of tax benefits and whatnot.
Really?
Yeah, you pay less money to the government if you're married.
What?
Yeah,
What? I
yeah,
did not know that. Why
and
is
it's like
that?
I who knows? I'm not. I mean, it's been around for a while, but
Hmm.
um, there's a lot of other things, right? You get to experience. You have a companion with you. Um, you know, a companion throughout life, someone you can trust. Like that's what really important.
Hmm.
Someone that has your back for a lot of things. I mean, it should be arguably everything that someone has your back for everything. But
Hmm.
if I'm gonna be honest, if I'm wrong, I want someone to call me out on it, and I'm definitely gonna call someone out on someone if they're wrong,
What?
regardless of.
What real shit?
I remember you telling me some time where I don't know if it was you, but there was someone. Maybe it was you. There was this.
Hmm.
I think you said that you were talking with this girl and she was telling you some straight up really dumb shit. And I don't think it was you, but basically, his girl was venting to him, and then he was like, "This bitch crazy. This bitch is crazy." But the thing was, the whole point of venting, the whole point of why people vent to each other is they just want someone to agree with them,
Right.
like to just take their side, regardless of how crazy it is. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as people can vent and feel understood, then that's all that really matters,
Hmm.
regardless if they're right or wrong.
But that's not healthy though.
I think
I
venting's
mean,
healthy, but like,
but like agreeing with them all the time,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
that's not healthy. Because then like you're I don't know. I feel like they become stale at that point.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever had a girl complain to you like that before?
Um, yeah, I mean, kinda.
Mm.
Not like I haven't had a girl like. Actually, yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. It was she was talking about like okay, so I was with this girl and she was telling me how stupid her other friends were, and in my mind I'm like, well, I mean, you shouldn't be saying this to me, right? Like, if you have some issues with your friends, you should just tell them and confront them about it. But then it took like I didn't get it back then, but now I kind of get it. I guess that comes back to the topic, like what have I learned, and I'm getting a better understanding of like human psychology and like
Mm.
why people do things, and I love to like break down why I do things and why I
Mm.
think things through. So this girl, she was like venting about how dumb her friends were, and I kind of like didn't agree with her. I was like, well, I wouldn't say that they're particularly stupid. I think during that time they had a moment of being really dumb,
Mm.
and I had tried to start a discussion with her where like everyone's pretty fucking smart. Like regardless of how dumb, quote unquote, people are, everyone's everyone has some form of intelligence, and I think that goes back to our intelligence discussion, where there's just different forms of intelligence. So
Mm.
just because someone's an absolute animal when it comes to math, right, doesn't mean that they're stupid. They just
Yeah.
have difficulties with math.
Word.
On the flip side of things, what if she is really good at something else, and then you now go into her field and you don't know shit. So you're now, instead of her being the dumbass,
Nah,
you're
you
the dumbass.
dumbass. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just how it is, right? You see people in a specific environment, and you can't entirely deduce their full character off of that specific environment.
Mm.
Yeah, for me, it's like math is great. I don't know shit anymore.
Word.
Like at the end of middle school, I don't know shit. I am a terrible mathematician.
Mm. You said that you started like studying why people do the things that they do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have a kind of two-part question. One, what have you found out about human people, like how human psychology, and two, what made you want to study people and why they do things that they do.
Okay, I'll answer the second question first.
Okay.
So the reason why I started like studying like human behavior is because like I always, well, it kind of started out with Dota, which is kind of funny, and I would try and learn how to perform better and like break down like how to basically perform better, like type
Mm.
some type of like mind steroid, like what can I do, and it's definitely in psychology, and I think with documentaries we can see how important psychology is when it comes to the game, like the example of Sab being this really good emotional pillar and whatnot. But from there, it kind of branched out to many other things. So like, why am I doing these things in my life? Why am I saying the things that I'm saying in life?
Mm.
And I'm taking things from my own life that I was naturally curious about, and then I started applying them to other people. And the
Mm.
thing is, like, my ideologies about human psychology could be wrong. You know, the way I think about things and the way I approach things with those ideas, I could just be completely wrong, and this guy doesn't know shit. So like,
Mm.
I might go into this conversation with you and me, and might make a lot of assumptions about what I can say and what I shouldn't say, or like how I think you're gonna react. If I say something, I know you're gonna react positively. I'm making all these assumptions, right?
Mm.
Like there's a reason to why I'm saying certain things.
Mm.
Uh, and then I'm sorry, what was the first question again?
What are some of the conclusions you came to about the things we
Some of
do?
the conclusions.
Like
Okay,
like some examples.
okay. I'll try and think of some concrete examples. Um, Human beings are like naturally selfish as fuck. Like we
Mm.
all want everything in our own best interest, and I think which is kind of weird because we our behavior tries to make it seem like we're not, or like what
Mm.
we. Okay, let me say this again in a different way. So we are naturally incredibly selfish, but the behaviors that we try and adopt are ones that like to coat things and make us seem um,
Mm.
not selfish. So I think we're taught like be sharing and caring, you know, be kind, all of these things. Um, and ultimately, like, why are you? Most of the time, when people are kind to each other, um, you want some form of like re- what is the word again? Reproci-
I know the word.
Reciprocity.
Some kind of re per recompensation. Some kind of
I'm
compensation.
sorry, reciprocity. I'm
Mm.
actually crazy.
Oh, that
Reciprocity.
was not the word in my head.
Um, so like, why are you really kind to like this girl on the street? It's because
Mm.
you find her attractive or something or whatnot.
Mm.
Um, I mean that's a very shallow point of view, but that's kind of what happens. So
Mm.
um, let me try and think of things. So I guess I'm a little bit stumped here, but
Mm.
I know for sure humans are naturally selfish, and
Mm.
we adopt actions that make it seem that we aren't selfish.
Mm.
So a lot of things that we do tend to have hidden agendas behind it, whether we do it consciously or not. Um, you know, like why do you? I mean, I guess one of the best examples is like remember what I said where I I've been learning how to live the life that I want to live rather than it be dictated by other people.
Yeah.
I think that statement in itself is like a pretty good example because like I like to say that I don't give a fuck.
Mm.
Remember, but remember
Do
what I said like way back. People who say that care the most.
yeah they give out.
And I
Yeah.
think that's me calling myself out on my bullshit where I can say that easily, but why am I saying that in the first place?
Mm.
I think, and I guess that's like another that's another I forgot what type of topic that I want to call it, but um one of the I think it's a philosopher that started this thing. It's like question everything. And I think that also helped with like uh me trying to analyze like human psychology.
Mm.
It's like why do people do that?
Mm.
And then it keeps going back to another thing. And you kind of know you're done when you start going around in a circle because there's nothing left.
Hmm.
Um,
I don't know, bro. Cause I'm thinking, cause like, especially with mothers, there's some things that they do that they don't care what they get back. They don't care any reward they get. They do it because they genuinely love their child, or even like, cause I mean like that. Like people are selfish. I feel like that's like an American thing.
mm,
I feel like in a lot of like third world countries, a lot of countries that are struggling, there are
right,
some like real genuine people that they just do things just because they want their people to grow as a
right.
whole.
So
I don't know if that's like that's a selfish thing.
right. So
Um,
I definitely see your point. You know,
mm,
and I actually thought about something like that as well. And it's a good point that you point out that there's different parts of the world, right? Because like the
mm,
United States is like a very
yeah,
small part of the world. You know, like
yes,
it's very easy to for us to view our lives as like the only thing that exists is the United States.
right.
Simply because of like proximity, we don't see anything else. We're not exposed to anything else. However, the mother's thing was a good example. I think that's there. You, I completely agree with you that mothers, they do a lot of things that provide no benefit to themselves.
Mm,
I think one of the things I would question is like, or one of the things I would point out is like, why are they doing that? And maybe it's because they believe it's part of their responsibility. It's something that
mm,
they have to do. When you
mm,
become a parent, you kind of like you're not number one anymore. You're
right.
put as number two. But why? And I guess like that's like my ideology. It's like why?
Mm,
And I would say it's because like that's what is deemed correct.
mm,
Or that is what we have socially deemed correct as a culture, as maybe even a species. You know, this whole offspring thing.
mm,
Um, so now it's like you're doing these things because this is what is this is what will give your ego relief because this is what
mm,
makes sense. This is like what you have to do.
mm,
Um, and I don't want to say. I think one of my professors pointed out like people think that they're free, but they're not actually. And it made me. I actually thought about it because I thought it was a pretty good quote. And if you break down the meaning behind that, it was like, as a college student, you think you're free. You don't have. You're not tied to your parents that much anymore. You have all this freedom. You can go out whenever you want. But you're not actually free. You're tied to your studies. You're tied to this degree that you believe that will get a job. And trying to relate that back to parenthood, it's you have a kid. You're tied to this idea of parenthood. You now are tied and are bound by the responsibilities of raising that kid. Obviously, some parents don't give a fuck, and they
mm,
don't actually follow that. Um, but I think it's like this relief where you bear this responsibility, and I don't want to say you're a slave to this responsibility,
mm.
but you're
You
doing
kind you
everything. You kind of have to do
yeah,
these
you kind of
things,
are.
and if you don't do these things, you are going against uh, what is
The norm.
ethically acceptable.
Mm,
And so I guess that would be my response as to why mothers or parents in general like sacrifice for their kids.
mm,
I think it's also um, what's also important to discuss is like in a life or death situation, in a given time, if a parent had a choice between to save themselves or their kid first, that is a really big question,
mm.
because my no one can truly know, right? Because there's no way to
Yeah, there's
actually
too
know.
many. There's too many factors, bro. People have different like values and stuff. Like some might say their kids with no doubt.
Yeah, right.
Some
But
might not.
it's really easy to say you would save your kid instead of
Right.
yourself, right?
Mm,
You can only prove it verbally, which is not the
mm,
best indicator. The best indicator is to actually create a scenario where they have to do it, save themselves. And I would adopt the argument saying that every individual would save themselves first out of instinct, out of natural instinct. They would go and save themselves first.
mm.
because it's like your reflexes will literally, your body is literally built to save itself.
Mm.
Like that's the whole point. That's the whole reason why we're like humans have made it this far.
Mm. So
But
okay,
remember what I said, right? I could be just spouting total bullshit, and
yeah.
my ideologies could be wrong. I
Mm.
these are my current beliefs, and I think that like I don't think I'm right. You know, I
Mm.
think I'm just spouting my ideas.
Mm.
Um, I think the mother's thing is a good example, though. You know, um, there definitely is. I think there's always stories and there's beauty in, yeah, like humanity, and we're not actually selfish and whatnot.
Mm.
Um, but I'm a big believer in like this evolution thing, and like humans, right? Modern humans are still so young, so it's really hard to like. I always love to reference um, like innate human instincts, because I
Mm.
think it's a great indicator of of why we make decisions of what we do. Yeah, I, know, I kind of went on
No, you good. You
a few
good.
tangents from that question, the two questions.
You said what?
I might have went on a few tangents from the two
No,
questions.
that's exactly what we needed, bro. But I was gonna say, I can see how humans are naturally selfish, but then what was I gonna say? I feel like um, damn, what was I gonna say? I feel like there are some like, because there's 7 billion people in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like at least a good percent of the people, they're born like with this, like their natural like virtues are, they have like natural virtue like the courage and balance and like
Mm-hmm.
and justice. So it's like if they see, for example, if they're like, let's say they're starving or they're dying of thirst and they see a well and they see a dog or something. The majority of the people I've met in this country or in this world, they're probably gonna save themselves, not a dog.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there are, like these human beings that are, they're not the norm. Or it's like they would they would they would save the dog first and they would die.
Really?
I feel like it's possible. There have been stories about it. Like I remember
Mm-hmm.
my dad was telling me like how this it was a prostitute and she was dying of thirst at a well.
Right.
Um, but and there's another. I feel like because the selfishness comes from the mind, or at least I think it comes from the mind. Like you're like if I don't do this, it's not gonna be about me, in the mind and the ego. But then there's people that use their hearts and like like they realize that they're insignificant speck on this universe, and that
Mm-hmm.
there's bigger things out there. People are probably more important to the world than themselves, and they'll put people ahead of them, and like they're just naturally selfless.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's there's two sides. Like there's people who are naturally selfish and people who are naturally selfless.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's? I have a question. Do you think that there's some bias behind that? I
What do
think
you mean?
that okay. So you had mentioned that you had mentioned that your father told you a story.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that we find like remember what I said, right? I think naturally humans are selfish, right? But our actions and the things that we adopt, like we go against that selfishness.
Hmm.
Um, and this I think this is why we tell stories about it because it's virtuous to do so.
Hmm.
We don't we don't tell stories about being selfish. You know,
Hmm.
it's almost romanticized that. to not be selfish,
Right.
um, because it's supposed to be virtuous. There's nobility in not being selfish and sacrificing. Um, but why do we tell stories? Like, why is that? I think that's one of my biggest questions. Like, why are we romanticizing that sacrifice?
Mm.
Um, and I think it's because, uh, I mean, I completely see your point, right? I
Mm.
think that it's a good. It's actually, it makes a lot of sense that there's people that aren't selfish and there's people that are selfish, right?
Mm.
Um, I think you need a good balance of it, right? Because like, without selfishness, it's selflessness doesn't exist, and vice versa.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So like, one of my big questions is like, do you think that uh, what is it? Certain how can I say this? Certain approaches of life are romanticized more than others, and why do you think so?
Oh, of course. Um, because when you tell a story, people have you look at the reactions of people. Let's say a kid hears a story about a night, and it just sounds cool to them. People are like, "Wow, the night is so cool," and like you continue to tell that specific story, and it's just like it grows and grows and grows, and that just becomes an ancient tale that everyone knows, like the story of the knight pulling the sword from the stone and becoming this legendary person. That just
Mm-hmm.
sounds like everyone like that. Everyone knows, like basically everyone knows that. It just sounds cool, and who wouldn't want to be the person that everyone looks up to? And it's just like, you know, that is a good question. That
Mm-hmm.
is a very good question. Like, what makes it look cool to us? That's a good question. Like, it's because I see when like some animes and some shows, I see villains who have just as much virtue as the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say Avatar: Last Airbender. Zuko was supposed to be the villain, but he ended up being the good guy. He had just as much virtue. He had just as much good inside of him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's what makes really good stories. When like,
Yeah,
I mean, you have a good villain, or you have good antagonists when their reasons are as good, if not better, than the protagonists.
exactly.
And you're like, damn. Like when a story hits you with like their reason or the antagonist's reasons, you're like, damn.
Hmm.
And then you start questioning the protags, and
Yep. Yep.
you're like, damn.
You didn't watch. Did you watch Invincible?
I have not yet. I think I was recommended that.
Ah,
It's on Netflix, right? Or Prime?
it's yeah, Prime.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of another example. Um, I not to get political. Well, no, I won't get political. But let's say
No,
nothing. Not that
political's fine.
I was gonna say like let's say like Israel and Palestine.
Okay.
Like let's say Palestine retaliates and starts killing the other side. You can't say that Palestine is in the wrong and they're not justified. They've killed how many kids these past few months?
Okay.
Like they.
If I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually
Mm,
pretty ignorant on what's happening over in
mm.
Israel. So if you could if you could like give me some context.
Well, to be 100% honest, I am not like the scholar that could be describing it, but I'm gonna try my best to explain. So basically, there was this Jewish man that he went to the government and he was like the land that the Palestinians are on that is that belongs to the Jews because it was given to them by God, and the government was like, you're right. So they started like moving into Palestine and kicking them out of their homes and forcing them out of their homes. And then people are not gonna let that happen, so they fight back, they protest, and then eventually I don't know like how it got so escalated so fast, but eventually they started getting missiles and bombing buildings blowing them down, and
Yeah.
kids have passed away. Women, men, humans are like people are dying because someone wants to take land
Oh.
from something that doesn't belong, like actually belong to them.
Mhm.
So like yeah, so why like you can't say that a Palestinian is not justified for like retaliate fighting back.
Oh.
Like people are losing their kids, they're losing their fiancés,
Oh.
right? And like another example, you can't say that Black Lives Matter or anyone is not justified when they, let's say, they start graffitiing the White House or burning stuff. Like he's like, oh, this is destructive. This is not a peaceful protest. Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like the last 400 years, you telling me that's peaceful? Like you went to. Of course, there's a lot of story, like um a lot of sides of the story. I mean, not really, but blacks have helped like slave masters captured another black man, but still, like you captured a person, you took them away from their home, you took their name, you took their identity, and enslaved them to pick something in the field for how many years? And you're telling me that you can't. You're telling me that wasn't. You're telling me that was peaceful, and you're telling me that I can't be justified for burnings, trying to burn the White House down, or trying to break in and take something that I feel like belongs to me,
Right.
because you took my identity from me. I'm gonna take your belongings now. I'm
Okay.
gonna take your watch and your purse.
So
You know.
I have something to say against that. Right.
Mm.
I am a I do believe in Black Lives Matter and their movement, but not in
Mm.
that regard. I think that
Mm.
it is justified, but hear me out on this. So the people that like okay, first of all, the Black Lives Matter movement isn't violent. It's like maybe like one incident out of or a good example is like it's a very small amount of incidents that happen
Right.
and then
Yeah.
suddenly it's associated with violence and it's like no that's not how it works guys like
Mm.
if there's like if like half the country is peaceful and then like there's one story and then it blows up on like news outlets and suddenly the Black Lives movement is associated with violence, which is definitely not the
Right.
case.
Mm.
I think that is I think that applies to a lot of things too.
Mm.
um but you had mentioned like graffitiing the White House, damaging business owners, places, purses, or
Mm.
whatever. Let's go to the purse example. That
Mm.
woman that had a purse, or maybe a guy, who knows if a guy has a purse. Um, I mean, whoever owned that purse didn't enslave anyone, completely
Mm.
unassociated with everything. So why is that person liable for the mistakes that happened? Why is this white woman whose purse was stolen
Mm.
liable for the actions of her ancestors like of years ago? She is
Mm.
com- she's only bound to them by like blood, I guess bloodline actually,
Mm.
but none of her actions were tied to not like her life literally has is not tied at all to any slave master or owner or any slavery. So I think
Mm.
that there's a lot of innocent people, regardless of race. It doesn't even apply to African Americans, or like white people. I think this has gone down in human history, and it also reflects with what was that place, Palestine, and
Yeah.
Israel. Like you're seeing people that are completely innocent, you know.
Mm.
Um, and I think Attack on Titan also covers that really well. Like, why are we
Right.
bound?
Yeah. That's a great
Why do
example.
we have to pay for things that happened that we are completely unassociated by?
Mm.
Um, Now, to go back to Black Lives Matter, I think it's completely necessary in order to invoke change. I think
Mm.
this is what needs to happen, or else things you need some type of friction and disruption in order for things to change, right?
Mm.
And that is completely reflective of like how the universe is made. Like you need movement, you need some form of movement because it generates heat.
Mm.
Otherwise, if things are stagnant, nothing happens. That is
Mm.
literally the foundation of existence in universe. You need some type of movement. Um, Both in the literal sense, like like atoms, molecules need to be moving in order to generate heat. And I think You need, yeah, exactly. You just need some type of movement, disruption, friction for things to
Mm,
happen. And I think that like people who don't understand that like probably shouldn't be arguing about like that specific what is it field of policy or
mm,
politics.
mm. Going back to the, let's say, the purse thing or the graffiti. Let's say, because let's say you grow up and you get stares like these you get like you get stared. Oh my god, you get take a deep breath. Let's say you grow up, you're constantly getting stared at by people or white or Caucasian people, and they're giving you these certain looks,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like you're asking yourself why, and then you learn the history, and you're like why, and you certain like your emotion, you get angered, and then you get these like it hasn't happened to me a lot. It happened to me a couple times, but I'm walking by a lady I see on the sidewalk, and they will cross the street to get away from me,
Uh-huh.
or they see me in the elevator, they will like hold their purse tight. And you know, I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna take your I'm, like not I haven't stolen a purse from anyone, but I'm like, I'm not gonna take your purse,
Yeah.
you know. But sometimes like you're doing this is making me mad. Like maybe I should take it, and then maybe like you can just like you know I feel like it gets emotional, and then people will do things, and
Mm-hmm.
and like you say it's justified, and I say it's like it's some type of justified because like you know it's like you know the idea of like compassion. Like I understand that they're like those stares can get a person triggered,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I and like not that I've ever been in the situation to take a purse, but it's like you know I sort of see where you're coming from. Like and let's say I remember there's a Tupac line. Um, let me see if I can find it. But um, basically it's about them like saying a kid from poverty or from the ghetto like it's been hungry their entire life, and it's like they learn about history and like this other side has been thriving for 400 years, and it's like all right, it's my turn now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that purse so I can get a peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like in some sense that is justified because you can't human nature. You're gonna it's, like things like that are going to happen.
Right.
Um, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I understand and in
Mm-hmm.
a sense it is justified. Um,
Um.
let me
So.
find the Go ahead.
Uh. So to break that down, I think so. The whole point of from my understanding, the whole point of Black Lives Matter movement, or is like to address the racial inequality, inequities um, of our current worlds.
Mm,
It's also to address and point out that there has been some terrible things that have happened in the past. And the whole point is to prevent and to remove all of that shit, right?
mm,
Um, and by stealing that purse, it doesn't make. In fact, the cycle repeats itself.
mm,
Um, so like that's why I'm actually I don't think it's I completely understand why there's incentive and why people would want to steal a purse or to get
mm,
back. But that defeats I think that defeats the whole purpose of the movement.
mm. Yeah, it does, but um, you know, I feel yeah, there might be two different. There's two different. Um, I don't know, cause I need to do. Um, it's a touchy topic. I'm not.
Yeah, it is. It
It's
definitely
a very
is. You
touchy
know,
topic.
I
Yeah.
think we're both on what is it, on thin ice saying things.
Yeah, we are.
I think it's also I'm also not African American, so it's very difficult to me, very
Mm,
difficult to have a credible take.
mm.
Um, I'm fucking 5 foot 5'9" and I'm Asian, so when I go in an elevator, no one gives a shit. Like, oh hey, like there's a fucking Asian. This guy's not doing shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
or I'm walking down the street and like I don't think about any of the things that you have to deal with, right?
mm,
Because I'm fucking 5'9" and I'm Asian. like,
mm.
um,
I say it's I say it's touchy because let's say because let's compare my life compared to an African American 50 years ago, even 30 years ago, it's
yeah,
completely different.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
I don't know the kind of struggles they've been through. Like I know like a speck in the universe of what they've been through.
Mhm.
Like even with the Black Panther, I feel like they had their own. I don't know much about. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for media.
Yeah.
It's important for mediums to cover that, right? I think
Right.
Black Panther was a huge success.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and it's also like I don't want to take any credibility away from you, but we live in Maryland. We live in
Yeah.
we
Exactly.
live in Montgomery County, Maryland. Like,
I experienced nothing.
it's yeah, it's hard for me to fully understand like the perspective of someone is actually that actually feels the consequences, right?
Right.
Because I'm fucking Asian. I'm gonna say it once. I'm fucking Asian,
Mm.
and I lived in Montgomery County. Like, I don't know shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Me as well, bro.
That being said, it doesn't entirely remove us out of the conversation.
Word. I'm still a black man in America.
And I also think you don't necessarily have to be African American to take a stance on this, right? Because I think it's more
Mm.
so like justice. Like, this is
Yeah.
what is.
This is a world thing. Like everyone should be involved because everyone has feeling some type of discrimination. Even like I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of Asian hate going around now because of coronavirus.
I haven't experienced Asian hate. I don't
Mm.
think if I'm gonna be honest, I honestly don't think Asian hate exists because there's hate. I think hate exists.
Mm.
I think like this is only like like a very small scope thing. Like,
Mm.
I'm sure there's some Asian people that got like fucked up over this COVID thing. I haven't
Yeah.
experienced shit. I'm just walking
Mm.
around doing my own thing. No difference in my life.
Word.
Um,
It's a touchy topic, bro.
yeah, it is.
But I found the line I'm looking for. It said, "I'm tired of being poor. Even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a nigga. Pull a trigger, kill a nigga. He's a hero. Give the crack to kids. Who the hell cares? One less hungry mouth on the welfare. Like, even though I never experienced it, I kind of understand.
Mhm.
Like I can resonate with it, and I can respect it. Dang, you saying some real shit in these lines, bro.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good lyricists nowadays too. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think the artist I listen to most is like J Cole. I know he dropped an album recently.
Ooh, that album was 10 out of 10.
I haven't gone through everything. There was like this one song I was like, "Yo, this is shmoney."
Which song?
I can't remember. The thing is, I can't. I'm so bad with song names inside albums.
Mm.
Like, if you play me a song, I'll be like, "Hey, I know that song." But if you tell me what song it is from which album, I don't know shit.
Mm. It might have been. Actually, I don't even know. A
There was
lot of
like
people
the
like.
chorus was really good. I was like,
Oh, is
"Yo."
it My Life?
I think
Was
so.
21
Wait.
was
Let
21 Savage on it?
me. Maybe, maybe. Let me
I
play it.
like that one a lot.
Yeah, I think this is Enzo.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yup.
Yep,
That
yep.
joint was fire.
Yeah, it was. Dude, this guy sings so well, that chord.
What's his name? His name is Moray, right?
My life. Holy shit.
People are saying that album was mid.
That
Nonsense.
chorus slaps. Oh my god.
And I'm happy because people are gonna like notice that person's talent and then listen to more of their music, which is good. But back to the we went on a tangent again, but back to there was something else that I was really happy that I learned about. Um, I learned that I am needed in this world actually,
It's really
but
good.
but it's not like I'm needed for like big picture. Like I feel like I'm needed for like the simple things in life,
Mm-hmm.
like taking out the trash, like small conversations,
Mm-hmm.
um, even like posting a picture or posting or writing a paragraph for someone else to read or listen. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it may or may not. It may help just one, but I feel like maybe that one person needs it.
Yeah.
Like they can be on like it's like life or death situation, and they heard that line or saw that picture,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped them. And I feel like I may not be no prophet or like no like leader like leading millions of people,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm human. Like I can still do something.
Right. That one is all you need.
Right. If I got one, I'm blessed. That's fine. Like I gotta learn to accept that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
what was I saying?
that's another good point. Like
Mm.
I think if I were to be honest, at this point, I'm just trying to find some immediate purpose to my life.
Word. Mm.
Like, I think it's really, I think it's paired with loneliness, where
Mm.
when you're
I'm
lonely,
telling you, man,
you don't
loneliness is.
you don't really understand like, or you can't really. It's hard to see what you're needed for.
Mm.
Because if you have a significant other, that kind of fills the gap. I don't want to say it does,
Mm.
but
I wouldn't know.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know either.
Like, I never had a girlfriend. None.
I was just trying to get cheeks right now. That's all.
Yeah.
That's just my focus right now. Relationships are difficult, so I'll wait for it when the time comes. But
Right. I'm on the edge of the. I'm on the. What's the saying? On the edge
on,
of the fence.
I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I'm on the fence because parts of me want a girlfriend. Parts of me just wants to and then go on to the next and go on to my next day.
Yeah.
It's like my heart is saying, man, you need to find a companion to like actually be in love with.
Mhm.
But then my body is like, bro, just go on one night, you straight. Log into Tinder or something or go somewhere. It's like I'm fighting demons right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a dumbass, and I feel like I've definitely had opportunities. I'm just like, I don't know, my libido's gone or something, or some
Hmm.
shit. I need to
What
start
does that mean?
your libido, like your sex drive.
Ah,
I don't know.
see,
I definitely had the
you
opportunities, but I'm just like,
you lost
whatever.
your mojo.
The mojo. It's funny.
No,
Yeah, maybe I just gotta stop busting a
yeah,
nut.
yeah.
That's probably it. That definitely kills libido. And
You're satisfied. That's all you needed.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I gotta stop busting a nut. That's actually definitely it, right?
Mm,
Because like no fap is like real. You don't gain superpowers, but it helps a lot of things.
it does. It does a lot. Especially, it helps you learn it helps you learn how to like strive for like long term fulfillment.
Yeah.
Like it's such an easy thing to do. Like it's like instant gratification,
Oh
and
yeah.
to be honest, all it's doing is just damaging you. Like even when you find that one girl, like you've been so I've or me, I've been so addicted that I won't even like be able to be attracted to her because I've been watching it so much.
Yeah.
These fantasies and stuff.
Fuck, I gotta get some cheeks.
Yes, sir. And yeah, another thing is I'm still I'm only 21. I'm still a kid.
Oh.
Like I think the idea is once you get to a certain age, you have to be an adult. But
Oh.
I don't know anything to be honest.
Yeah. I'm on the same boat.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking to myself, maybe I'll be a good father. Like, bro, you can't even pay your bills if you don't shut up.
Yeah.
And like, you're getting I'm getting ahead of myself at this point. Oh, I'm gonna get a wife. I'm gonna get kids, a house, a job. I'm like, bro,
Oh.
just finish, just finish this podcast, or just finish this, or finishing this class or whatever. Like, start with something. Don't get ahead of yourself. Like, I still got a lot to learn.
Hmm. I think I was sending out thank you emails to people, and one of the
Really?
things was like, um, I think it was like, although I may have graduated and completed my studies, I still am a student at heart, or something. I
Mm.
wrote some cheesy line like that.
But that's some real shit though.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
just because like completed, a course, and I think that we're all students, um, and like it doesn't really matter what age you are, you should still love to learn, and I think that's
Yeah,
an important skill.
you always should be a student.
Like you say that I would be a good teacher or something, but I mean
Mm.
it's just because I think it's because I'm pretty good linguistically. Like I can express my ideas really well, but like I just like doing things. Like I just like analyzing things, I guess.
Mm.
And
I
like
miss it.
I'm I'm really good at one-on-ones. So like it gives you like this deception that I would be good, uh I like to, cuz I think like being a mentor or a teacher is different skill set. Like you need a lot of
Mm.
patience.
Mm.
Um yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying like you'd be like the greatest, like you'd be like a master teacher, like right off the bat. But I'm saying like you have a potential to be a great teacher. Like you have some of the qualities, and
Hey.
all that
Hey.
means you just gotta work. Like if you want to be a teacher, I'm just saying like you gotta work on it, of course. But
I
you
think
definitely have some good qualities.
I think everyone will be I've taken this stance before. I think everyone should write an autobiography before they die at some
Yeah.
point in their life. And I think
Mm.
that book will be enough to be a teacher. It just shares your life experience and
Mm.
your ideas that you've learned throughout your life. Because everyone's gonna be a little bit different. That's the only real. So like writing a book or some type of thing is like basically the only proof that you existed, that your ideas were real, the ideas and beliefs that you had were like existed.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, I think I'll write like an autobiography at one point or something.
Mm. I mean, yeah. I'm still. I, I don't care what you say. I still think you would be a great teacher.
Hey, appreciate it.
You never know, man. You never know. There was some other things I wanted to mention. Ah, yes. There was two things. That one that I've been these couple of years I've been trying to like be more quote unquote religious,
Mm.
and I feel like that hasn't been working.
Really?
It's because it's not like when I say not working, I mean is it's like the way I was approaching it wasn't the best. I think I was going on too strong. Not too strong. I was going on. I was putting my mind into it too much. I was like overthinking it.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like now, in like where I am now, I feel like doing it in moderation may be better for me.
Mhm.
Um, for example, just saying like thank you God for what you've given me, and being grateful is like I feel like that simple act can go a long way.
Right.
Rather than trying to like put yourself in a religion and learn the language, learn let's say learn Arabic or learn how to write, speak the language or recite surahs. Um, because sometimes, not, I mean, of course, everything like it's a beautiful religion, but not everything resonates with people. And like,
Mhm.
let's say you try learning like a prayer, and it's like, mm, I don't know. I don't think that was for me, and like it can sometimes it can steer you away.
Mhm.
Um, even like I was even nervous to say this because even like talking about religion like can like turn people off because not everyone it doesn't resonate with everyone,
Mhm.
and I understand that. Um, but yeah, like for me, like practicing in like moderation, like doing simple things,
Mhm.
like adding it to my life. I feel like it's better than me trying to like take on all these different ideas and values and perspectives,
Uh-huh.
and like it's kind of like it's messing with my it's messing with me.
Right.
Um, and like I'm not comfortable. Like not to like again not to bash the religion. It's a beautiful religion, but like how I was doing it, like I wasn't comfortable. Like sometimes I'll go out like am I? Well, this said this, so I can't do that. Da, 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 da. And then I'm
Uh-huh.
conflicted.
Right.
But like yeah, so it's me just doing it in moderation and just doing simple things
Mhm.
and always like keeping it in my heart. I feel like that's better for me personally.
Right.
And then the other thing is, I just like I'm more than just my desires. Like I'll constantly like look down on myself because all I think about is like girls and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and like stuff like that. But I'm a lot more than just my desires. I'm a human being. I have ideas. Um I have consciousness. I can move my hands without thinking. I can breathe without thinking. I can feel my heartbeat. Like I'm a living. I'm life. Um, um, like not to sound conceited. Like I have a lot of flaws, of course, but I'm more than just like my negatives. I also have positives as well,
Mhm.
and I gotta recognize that and be like reach a certain balance of like knowing I have positives, but also realizing I have weaknesses and I need to work on it.
Mhm.
And I think there's probably a lot of things I had to add, but I can't think of anything else that I've learned these past
Right.
four, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm sure like we still have a lot to discuss, but we can save it for other podcasts. All right, appreciate everyone tuning in for today's episode. Next week we're gonna have a different topic. We have yet to decide, but we'll have one ready for you guys. Just want to say one more time, thank you guys back. Thank you guys for joining us back from the break. We hope you continue to enjoy our podcasts in the future, and we hope to see you back soon again.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. I'm trying to think of like other things I've learned you know, it's really hard to like self-diagnose. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to reference because I feel like been living day by day. Um, like I guess nothing's permanent. I think I've been learning that a lot recently. Like nothing actually is permanent. No matter how long things have been going on. Good times for sure. Like uh, not everything can be happy-go-lucky all the time. Um, your insane luck or insane good times doesn't last forever. The shitty times don't last forever, and I think it's just like, I guess money. Learning more about money. I think the past 2 years I've learned a lot about like money and how. So money shouldn't. It's kind of weird. You shouldn't work for your money. Money should be working for you. I think that's one of the biggest switches I've had in my life. Hello? Yeah. I think that's probably one of the things. That being said, I still don't have a lot of it, but I'm working on it.